What's going on, true Blazer fans? It's Tori here with a Game 2 recap. Now, as we jump through the footage, you'll probably notice that I'm missing a few defensive plays. After Game 3, I will release a video talking about some Game 2 defensive adjustments and how they helped in Game 2 or Game 3, or how they helped in Game 2, and then the Nuggets adjusted to them in Game 3. Just depends on how Game 3 goes tonight. Let me just say this quickly, though. I thought Game 2 was the best defensive game plan Terry Stotts has ever come up with. And it was the best offensive game I've seen the Blazers play all season long. Terry actually did a few things I've been asking for him for years that I've never really seen him do, and I'll talk about those things in that video. So for now, let's just jump into these clips from Game 2 and break down how Portland was able to pull out a huge Game 2 win on the road in the Mile High City. Although this was a good defensive game, it started off very poorly for the Portland Trail Blazers. They gave up a few lay-ins early, and Denver looked to be pulling out to a very fast start, which had me nervous. It seemed like they were a little jumpy, as here Harkless jumps at the pump fake, and Denver had a good start. But Portland was able to keep pace. They went to Enes Kanter early, and here he starts off the game well against Nikola Jokic. Here he wasn't able to finish, but Al-Farouq Aminu getting the board inside, and then methodically working his way to a right-handed lay-in. And then Al-Farouq Aminu gets another bucket, and it's the role players stepping up for Portland, which was nice to see after they didn't do much in Game 1. And then this play is a great example of why I love screens in transition, as well as side pick and roll. Enes Kanter gets a great shot, and Portland is keeping pace with the Nuggets. CJ McCollum was the best player in Game 2. Here he hits a pull-up three, and after a few poor defensive possessions, Portland had really picked it up on both sides of the ball. Dame wasn't shooting his normal pull-up threes off the screen, even though he had the space to do so. Here he gets inside for a mid-range pull-up. He was trying to get downhill into the paint, and he was drawing guys and being able to make plays for others. If Dame gets hot in the next game and they give him that space, then watch out Denver. They were guarding Dame with Torrey Craig most of the game, who's their small forward, so that means they had to switch a guard onto one of the small forwards. Here, Maurice Harkless goes to work against Jamal Murray, and Rodney Hood had some success against Murray later in this game as well. That's just a great dribble move by CJ McCollum, and all of a sudden Portland's up 9 and has some sense of control in the game. This isn't bad defense. If you give up a Paul Millsap 3, that's fine. He's not the best shooter, but Portland is able to get it right back with a Enes Kanter putback, and Enes Kanter has been huge playing through that shoulder injury. And one thing I noticed with a lot of Denver's made threes, a lot of them were contested well like this. They missed a ton of open threes, but a lot of threes they made were very contested. So I'm not sure it's like the Denver Nuggets just missed a bunch of easy threes. I mean, Malik Beasley contested step back. That's solid D. Winding down the end of the first quarter, the Nuggets had gotten the lead down to 3, and Mason Plumlee takes away the space Dame had earlier in the game to pull up from 3, and that means Dame can just drive right by him. The Denver bigs cannot take away the 3 as well as the driving lane. They're just not quick enough, and Dame's too lethal from multiple areas. Zach Collins had a huge game. Here he gets a tip out, and Torrey Craig goes down, leaving Zach Collins open on the backside. There's a very good tip out by Zach, but this dude broke his nose. And he came back later in the game with a face mask and really battled. I have respect for that guy as a player, not just because he has my name. And then this was an absolutely gorgeous spin move in the low post by Collins, really good footwork, and what we expect out of him that we don't see enough of. And then a good drag screen in transition by Collins, getting Rodney Hood to his favorite mid-range spot, who knocks it down. Rodney Hood is finally playing with some confidence. And then I don't even think this is bad defense. That is a great move by Nikola Jokic to sidestep and finish with the left. As I said, with the way Denver is matching up, you had times where Jamal Murray was guarding Rodney Hood. Rodney Hood has been abusing him this series. The way Denver's matching up is part of the reason Rodney Hood is playing so well. And then I love this ball movement. Usually when Zach catches the ball in this position, he takes one dribble too deep and isn't able to kick it to the corner, but this time he gets it out fast. The Nuggets actually rotated well defensively to cover this, but Rodney Hood with a little bit of space is able to rise up for 3 and knock it down. Oh look, Evan Turner's second bucket of the postseason. So Portland's building a nice lead here. Denver's going to need to score. That's one of their patented backdoor cuts and passes from Jokic. And then offensive rebounds were a problem. On this possession, they get 2 offensive boards and finish with the lay-in. But this was Denver's last score, as they did not score in the final 4 minutes of the first half. So that means we can jump straight ahead to the third quarter, with Dame starting it off with a lay-in to give Portland their largest lead of 19. Here, Denver possibly gets away with a foul, but they're able to get the turnover and run the fast break and get an easy lay-in. They did this a little bit to start the second half, and they were scoring inside pretty well. Had me a little bit worried as they were making a little bit of a comeback, and as you know me, I get worried anytime a team starts to make a comeback. But Dame tries to calm my nerves, and he rejects the screen here. There's nobody to get in his way on the baseline drive, and he's able to beat the shot blocker to the backboard and get a lay-in. Jake Layman started the second half because Mo Harkless got injured, and it was interesting how they had him defend Jamal Murray. Here, Murray is able to drive in and get a layup. That was a pretty weak foul call too, considering what Dame didn't get called for him all game long. Dame's getting a little bit of confidence now, and watch how they switch the direction of the pick and roll, and Jokic just can't keep up. Dame has a lot of space and is able to rise and hit for three. I think they need to screen and then rescreen on the other side a little bit more because those bigs can't cover that much ground to help, and it should free Dame for three. Denver is still getting easy buckets in the paint. Portland's defense wasn't quite as good at the start of the third as it was the rest of the game, but they picked it back up later. And this was a beautiful pass by Jokic, but I wonder how much of it was because he lost the ball in his hand. The announcers freaked out way too much over this play, and I thought they were pretty biased towards the Nuggets. On the next play, Cantor plays really good defense, forcing Jokic into a tough shot, but the Nuggets are able to get the rebound and putback, which increasingly became a problem as this game went on. It was very frustrating. But CJ really picked it up in the second half. A really nice step-through move here to get to that floater. And then these Denver bigs just can't keep up with our guards. Here CJ gets to his spot and knocks down the mid-range shot. Again, Dame getting downhill off the screen and feeding Enes Kanter as he collapses the defense. Enes Kanter is really good at that up and under finish, which is usually the finish that's there. And then good defense turned into offense is what I love, especially when Al-Farouq Aminu looks off a defender and is able to drive all the way for the and one lay-in. And then Zach Collins was huge in this game. I love seeing him hit that shot. If bigs are going to sag off him like that, he needs to be able to consistently knock down that jump shot. Torrey Craig is back, and he's the only Denver Nugget that can hit a three even though he has a face mask on. I've worn one of those things, it messes up your vision more than you'd think. And then I thought this play was funny. Watch as this defender completely gets lost on the switch, goes to guard Zach. Rodney Hood's wide open for the baseline jumper. Denver royally screwed up that defensive possession. Here you have Mason Plumlee pulling the same spin move Zach Collins did on him in the first half, but Zach Collins gets him back with a beautiful hanging finish. A shot that he tries here or there, but I've never actually seen him finish it. And then Zach with really good rim protection defensively, but he doesn't have rebounding help on the other side, and ends up with Will Barton cashing in. Rebounding was such a big problem in the fourth quarter. I was screaming at my TV, trying to will my voice into the Blazers to get them to rebound the ball, but nope. More offensive rebounds. With Denver making a run, CJ hits a huge pull-up three because Plumlee was giving him just enough space. So watch on the next possession as Plumlee tries hard to take away that space, and it allows CJ to blow right by him with the split, draw Seth Curry's defender, and kick it to Curry for a wide open three. This is why our guards hitting threes off the pick and roll is huge because it sucks up the defense, allows them to get into the paint and draw extra defenders and create good shots for themselves or others. And then this was a very tough floater by CJ. I don't think he really wanted to shoot this ball but got stuck and cashed it in. And then Denver had been able to cut the lead to 7, and CJ steps up again with an offensive board, stepping back for 3 in what was a huge shot to put the Blazers back up by double digits. On this possession, Dame and CJ are involved in a little bit of screening action. They're both guarding guys that are 6'4". They should probably just switch this, but CJ's too low. Dame thinks switch because of who's screening him, so that's why he steps off Murray a little bit. Just some miscommunication. This shouldn't have been a hard play to guard, but it ends up with Jamal Murray getting a wide open 3, and I know it bounces in, but you can't give Jamal Murray these types of shots, especially down the stretch when you're up 10, as they'll need quick threes like this. But with Portland up 7 with about 2 minutes left, any bucket here pretty much salts away the game, and Rodney Hood gets a wide open corner 3 and knocks it down. He stepped up like he did in game 1. He had another huge game 2, and he's playing with confidence that he wasn't playing with in the first round. But the Blazers weren't going to make it easy on us, giving up another offensive rebound, and then I like that they didn't give up the 3 here, but a wide open layup is the next worst thing. So here you have Denver within 7, Jokic driving, and it was a good job by Kanter not to foul him, as Portland is still up 5 with 30 seconds left. All you need to do is take care of the ball and not turn it over. But he throws an inbounds pass, which ends up resulting in a turnover. The 5-second count was at about 4.5, but at that point, I want Kanter or Terry Stotts to just call a timeout. You can advance the ball, and it'll be an easier spot to throw it in. You can have somebody other than Kanter throwing it in after the timeout. The only way Denver can come back is if you either miss free throws or you turn the ball over. But Denver wasn't able to capitalize on it. Jokic badly misses this 3, and this time it goes off of Gary Harris, and Portland was able to salt away this game. This was a huge Game 2 win, and the Blazers come back to Portland with the series tied at 1-1, playing in Game 3 tonight. So a couple things I want to address before I wrap up this video. First off, a lot of people saying this is a flop. I think Enes Kanter kind of lost his footing after being just completely shoved by Jokic. The fact that the Nuggets tried to start a fight over this when they didn't even see what happened was ridiculous to me. False bravado, down, about to lose the game, trying to make a statement or whatever. I don't understand, but I also don't think there should be any suspensions. They just called a timeout, so players were already on the court. So how can you suspend somebody for being on the court? Just makes no sense. And then the last thing I want to talk about are these guys, because this game was terribly refereed, and that made this game even more impressive by the Portland Trail Blazers. B-Ball Breakdown actually called out the refs for a lot of foul calls against the Blazers, and I'm going to call these out as well. This one was one of the worst. Jokic got away with 3 obvious fouls that didn't get called. Here just waxed Dame right on the arm. I don't know how you missed that call. And then number 2, hit CJ right on the arm, pushed him in the back. No call. And then the trifecta hits Enes Kanter squarely on the arm. Enes Kanter's not going to miss a layup like that unless he gets fouled or blocked. That would have been Jokic's 6th foul, and no call. And I'm getting a little bit sick of this guy with the fouls he's able to get away with, and then the flopping. Game 1, he flopped his way all over the place and got every single call. This one right here made me extremely angry. That's just not basketball, man. This isn't soccer. I mean, just look at how he just throws his head back and flops. And yet, on the other end, he's able to whack guys on the arm consistently and not get a call. Moving on from Jokic, here Jake Layman takes a textbook charge, easily beats Paul Millsap to the spot, and doesn't get the call. They call it a blocking foul. That's ridiculous. But it makes you think, okay, the Blazers are driving and getting whacked with no calls. So defensively, Portland should be able to take advantage of that, right? But nope. Here, Evan Turner and Zach Collins both simply hit the ball and got called for a foul. I don't know which one, but the Blazers got called for a foul on this play after not being able to get calls where they get their arm whacked. But then funnily enough, the Nuggets had the audacity to throw a tantrum over a foul call after they've been getting every call all game long. And you'd think Gary Harris would get a technical for this, throwing his fist close to the ref and then basically bumping into him, but no technical. But this was by far the worst one. Elbowed in the face, and it was a foul on Damian Lillard's face, I guess. I don't know. They wouldn't have called that hand contact unless Dame got elbowed in the face. They weren't calling that hand contact all game long. This is the postseason. You're able to get away with that. Dame wasn't really using it to his advantage. I don't want to end this video on a bad note, but the refs were awful. But that's just why it's more impressive that Portland was able to do what they did in this game and pull out Game 2 in the way that they did. So anyway, Game 3 is coming up here in a little bit. I'll try and get a Game 3 recap out a little bit quicker than I got this Game 2 recap out. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. With that, I'm out of here. This has been Tori. I'll see you true Blazer fans later. Peace out. Go Blazers.